we talked about Dejounte Murray a couple of weeks ago, right? And the Hawks and the Pistons had conversations about a trade. So the Hawks wanted the Pistons to trade Jaden Ivy and Sar Thompson for Dejounte Murray, right? And we've kind of heard that, the Hawks want 2 first-round picks or, good young players for Dejounte Murray. And I think the Pistons were very wise to reject this trade because I like Dejounte Murray as a player, but I'm not really convinced that if you were to make a trade involving Jaden Ivy and Sar Thompson for Dejounte Murray, it really moves the needle too much. I think at the end of the day, when you're talking about the Atlanta Hawks, they just, Luka scored like 73 points on them. Not a good look defensively. And Dejounte Murray is, he was coming out of college. He was just kind of like this project player that did develop in San Antonio. But I'm glad the Pistons did reject this. I think, trying to involve a Jaden Ivy and an Sar Thompson for him, glad the Pistons said no. I think eventually he's going to end up with the Los Angeles Lakers because of who his agent is. He's represented by Clutch Sports. You guys already know who runs that. Rich Paul, who's in LA, LeBron James. You guys can kind of connect the dots. I think Murray's probably going to end up in LA. I know a lot of Pistons fans were really on board with possibly trading for Dejounte Murray, but I'm kind of glad they took their names out of that sweepstakes because trading not only Jaden Ivy and Sar Thompson, I think that's just kind of an overpay, and the Hawks were trying to fleece the Pistons, in my personal opinion. When I read this report from James's article, I was like, hell no, I'm not trading, I'm not trading Jaden Ivy and Sar Thompson for Dejounte Murray. It's just because I know if you guys go back, the Hawks initially tried to trade up for Sar. They were willing to give us, their 15th overall pick and DeAndre Hunter, and the Pistons said no. They obviously like Sar. They like Jaden Ivy, but I think that's too much for Dejounte Murray. And I know he's under contract, and he'd be an intriguing guard to pair next to Cade Cunningham, but I think what you have in Ivy, who's to say he possibly can't turn into a similar type of guard as a Dejounte Murray, maybe not even better. I think, DeJounte's a hell of a player, but we really don't know what Ivy's going to turn into. We've seen 2 years of Jaden Ivy, and today he looked phenomenal. He looked like that 5th overall pick that everyone was saying he was the, best available player at 5 during his draft class. Jaden Ivy looked phenomenal. I'd much rather bank on Jaden Ivy's long-term trajectory than trade him and Sar to the Hawks for Dejounte Murray. But I do want to go to the comments, what you guys are saying about this trade proposal that the Atlanta Hawks did offer the Detroit Pistons. So let's get to it. I know you guys probably have a bunch of takes about this trade, 100%. Urban Alien 247. I don't like that trade at all. Ivy and Sar. Yeah, it's a terrible trade in my opinion. I think the Hawks are just trying to get maximum value for their guy, and I don't blame them, but to me that would be like a fleece for the Hawks if they were able to get off Murray's contract and get 2 young guys under contract, to help trade. Excuse me. We got Game Nuts. Dejounte and Zach LaVine trades would be a Band-Aid solution to this problem. I do like Zach and Cade backcourt, but getting rid of Ivy, who could potentially become either of them in this, is not ideal in my opinion. Yeah, like Jaden Ivy could possibly turn into a Zach LaVine type player. They have very similar archetypes. Not saying that Jaden Ivy is going to be the type of player, Zach LaVine is, but they're both athletic, 2 guards. They can fill up the stat sheet. Jaden Ivy's in year 2. Zach LaVine's been in the league for quite a while. Like, Zach LaVine wasn't really doing the type of stuff Jaden Ivy was doing in Minnesota year 2. Like, I've been following Zach LaVine for quite a long time, like all the way back to his UCLA days. Like, Zach LaVine's a hell of an athlete, but I think you should just hold on to see what Jaden Ivy could possibly be. Like the Atlanta trade, like Sar and Ivy, no. I'm not doing that for Dejounte. 7 Mile B, what up, man? Do you feel like we need to trade Bojan and Burks before they get hurt? Do you feel like Troy Deceiver needs to stop playing? We're gonna get into this later in the podcast because both of these guys are quote unquote on the trade market for the Pistons. They're vets that teams are calling about. But we're gonna get to that later in the podcast, 7 Mile B. But appreciate you dropping a comment. I don't think Ivy Nassar stand a chance under this crappy coach. I can understand this comment. I really can, because there's been so much discourse with him not liking Jaden Ivy and playing Killian Hayes over him at times. Like, I can understand this comment 100%. But I think things will get better. I really do. I think when this team adds some more quality NBA players at the end of the day, you're going to have more than 6 wins. I really believe that. Some of these players on the Pistons, I don't even think they're rotational players on other teams, and that's kind of sad to see. But like I said, I don't think Monty's a bad coach. It's just I just don't think he was the right coach for this team. That's just my opinion. I can't believe people was talking about trading Ivy. No way. Yeah, T. They were. Like I said, my old co-host, he wanted to trade Jaden Ivy on this podcast. Lance wanted to trade him. And I didn't want to trade Ivy because when I look at him, he's just a guy that I think isn't finished developing, and that's scary to think about. He just had a phenomenal game against one of the best teams in the Western Conference, went toe-to-toe with SGA tonight, and he's not finished developing. Like, he needs to get better defensively. I think we can all agree there. I think defensively, he needs a lot of work. But offensively, the way he pushes the ball, the way he can find Duran, effort, his three-point shot, his coming along, there's a lot to like about Jaden Ivy. If the Pistons were to trade Jaden Ivy, I can guarantee you it would come in the same breath as like a Dinwiddie or a Middleton. You would just, bring up Ivy if the Pistons were to move on from him, because I think Ivy's going to be a hell of a player. I really do. I take Trae Young. Yeah, same here, man. I really would. Weaver should make Monty play Ivy no matter what. Otherwise, fire Monty. I think that's why they had that organizational meeting, Maurice, because that whole organization is very high on Jaden Ivy. From Arntellum to Troy Weaver, they like Jaden Ivy a lot, and they want to see him flourish. And I think they do need to play Jaden Ivy more, in my opinion. He played 35 minutes a night. I think he should, regardless, play 30 minutes a night. He's just that type of guard that needs those reps. And I think we can all agree this is just a season where we're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to make the play-in. So why not play your best young players that you drafted? To me, I would give Ivy a good bulk of the minutes, whether it's at point guard or shooting guard.